Welcome everyone to the big clash at the Super Blitz 2026. We have on the stage all the top players, and Gukesh, the world champion, takes on Fabiano Caruana in 5 minutes plus 2 seconds increment blitz. They played in the rapid section, which was 25 minutes plus 10 seconds increment, and Gukesh managed to beat Fabi. They often say that Fabi has had bad results against Gukesh, but it has been in rapid format. In classical, they have a score of 2-all, while in blitz, Fabi has been doing pretty well. Will Fabi manage to continue that good form that he has against Gukesh in blitz, or will Gukesh strike here? Look at Gukesh there, completely focused, eyes closed, and he is focusing on the battle. And look at the crowd that has come to the Polin Museum here in Warsaw. The players are ready, handshake, and off we go. Knight to f3, d5 played by Gukesh. We have c4, e6, g3, and Gukesh gains space with the move d4. Fabi brings his bishop out, knight comes out to c6. We have castles, and Gukesh brings his knight to h6. A very weird move. Knight comes to f5, and now rook e1. A move that has only been played once before, but it's not a surprise for Gukesh because it's the top choice of the engine. Now takes, and Gukesh plays his pawn to h5. He wants to go h4. Fabi pushes his pawn forward. h4, g4. Look at the speed at which they are playing. He takes the knight. Fabi is prepared here. Although the bar now understands it's equal. H takes g2, d5 played. And let's see if Gukesh manages to figure out the right move here. After d5, the best move in this position is to take the pawn. It's very important because otherwise the knight has to go back. And so take, and now a very, very difficult move. If Gukesh hasn't seen it before, it's almost impossible to find the move. Knight e5, sacrificing your knight. Knight takes knight, and the point is bishop d6, eyeing this square. And so imagine if you play knight f3, there is bishop takes h2 check. If you take with the knight, I have queen h4. If king g2, I have to find queen d6 even, attacking here, and it seems like a mate, but in comes check, bishop d7, queen g4, defending this square, and now g6 to open up the position. You go e4, long castle with rook coming here, and it's a crazy line. So Gukesh is trying to recollect his analysis from this position. He takes the pawn, pawn takes pawn, and now Gukesh needs to play knight e5. He has 3 minutes 42 seconds. One question definitely on the mind is after knight e5, bishop d6, what if you give a check and try to bring your queen to defend the knight? In comes the move b5. What a move this is. Because if you take queen b5 and now I move, the queen is no longer on the 4th rank. So naturally the best move you might think is queen e4, but then queen e7 pins and wins. So you play queen d4, but then comes the move c5 even. What a move. D takes c6 and queen to c7 attacking here, and this is beautiful lines. Well, Gukesh wants to make his move. Now, can he find knight e5 is the big question here. He's already burnt close to 3 minutes on the clock. Maybe he's down to 2 minutes. He needs to figure out, but he's not happy. I mean, if it's a classical game, he'll figure out this move knight e5, but in blitz, how do you find it? How do you find and be sure about this? Bishop d6, then you need to know queen a4, b5, and Fabi knows his stuff. That's the thing. Knight f3, bishop h2, king g2, and queen d6. Wow. Okay, let's get back. 4 minutes 57 seconds for Fabi, and Gukesh goes bishop h4. He blunders here. He makes a mistake, but is Fabi ready to figure out what's happening? First of all, the rook is attacked. Imagine you save the rook with rook e2. That's game over. After bishop f5, black is the one who's better because now you can't take the knight. The queen is hanging. So good or bad, Fabi must take on c6. And now if queen d1, I just take with the rook. So you take bishop e1, and now either you take the bishop or you take here, and knight e1, and the position is complicated, and I don't know what the analysis or the evaluation would be in the heads of the player, but according to the engine, it's better for white. So Fabi needs to work it out, and he has a lot of time to do it. Gukesh down to 2 minutes 16 seconds. Fabi has all the time. So he's trying to assess, and he takes the knight. That's Fabi for you. Bishop e1, queen takes queen, king takes, and now just take knight e1. He's also calculating if pawn takes b7 should be included. Bishop takes f5. Gukesh moving quickly. Okay, the bishop is well placed. We can count the pawns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. White has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 2 pieces for a rook and pawn. That's how we can see this position. But the rooks need open files to get active. And actually there are not too many open files. There are semi-open files. Maybe the D file is the only open file on the board. So Fabi trying to now calculate. Should he take the pawn? That's natural, right? You want to take rook b8, but then the rook could get potentially the open b file. So he's trying to figure out where to bring his pieces. Knight takes g2 also seems to be a possibility, although bishop e4 puts pressure on the knight. Knight to c3 is also possible. And Caruana thinking here. He goes knight to c3. Good move. Brings his knight, and now Gukesh may want to take the pawn on c6. That would give him 2 pawns. But you know what Fabi's realized is that it's not about the quantity of pawns. It's the quality of the pawns that matter. That Gukesh needs pawns which are moving, mobile, and that would be helpful to him. Okay, b takes c6 must. He must take it. Takes, and then most likely Fabi would want to take on g2, play b3, bishop a3, knight a4. But Gukesh goes rook e8. He tries to attack here, although the pawn is defended on e3. And now c takes b7. Oh, he takes on g2 first. Once again giving him the opportunity to take on c6. Will Gukesh this time capture it? Yes, he takes it. Well, definitely some chances for black to hold on here. It's not going to be easy. Fabi plays this beautiful move b3. I love it. Because the bishop will be very well positioned on the a3 square on this diagonal. The rook will enter in. It would look great. And for Gukesh now, it's a tough situation. Maybe he has to follow something where he opens up lines for his rook. Something like c5, bishop a3, even c4, getting rook b8. But he goes f6. I wonder what's the point of f6. Maybe he wants to run on f7 with the king. And Caruana has 2 minutes 40 seconds. Gukesh has 1 minute 12 seconds. In Blitz, you just have to hang in there. Chances will present themselves. Bishop b2 played. Now the e3 pawn is slightly weakened. So can we go bishop e4 with the idea of bishop g2, king g2, and rook takes e3? He first goes king c8. Trying to put his king to safety, but knight a4 is a lovely move. If you want to go to b7, suddenly knight c5 check comes. So you can't play it. And actually Fabi's understood something really nice. He can put his knight on c5, he can put his bishop on d4, and he has this very nice blockade. That's why maybe king c8 instead of that. Perhaps bishop e4 could have been more to the point. But okay, this is where we are. Now Gukesh goes king d7. He changes his mind. He goes king d7, but that's not good enough because now rook c1. Rook goes to d8. Gukesh down to 33 seconds. Bishop d4, a lovely bishop. Attacking a7, controlling the c5 square. It's not even easy for black to find moves here. That's the problem. And Gukesh is searching for his chances. He's like, where do I get my counterplay? He goes bishop e4 and knight to c5, king c8, and maybe even rook c4 to a4. Takes, oh, he takes here, takes, and now can you chop off? Yeah, takes on c6, king b7, and Fabi brings the rook back to c4. We have rook to d5. And now it's time to get the king into the game. But you have to care for your h pawn. That's the problem. So knight f4, rook goes to b5. And now king to f2. You want to put your king on f3. g5 played here by Gukesh, attacking the knight. Well, rooks love to attack weaknesses. So if rook h4, g4 and rook h5 to put pressure on h2 would be epic. Caruana goes knight to d3. Ooh, there's a big threat. Knight c5 check is coming in. So rook f5 check, king g3. He had to go back with the rook. And now look at this move, e4. If you take here, I have knight c5. Aha. e4 is a wonderful move, trapping this rook almost. But he goes rook c1. And Caruana knows he has 1 minute 18 seconds. Gukesh has only 6 seconds. He plays a5. And Fabi trying to find that way to completely finish off the game. Maybe king g4, getting the king in from here. With two rooks, you have to be slightly careful with your king, not to end up getting checkmated. But don't see a way of that happening. And Fabi taking his time here. Such mature play by the top player from US. And he goes king g4. He moves his king. Gukesh needs to move his rook. Rook b5 he plays. Knight to c5. King goes back. And now king f5. Ooh, the king coming in. Rook at 7. He defends with this rook. Both ways. Rook b6. And now just take on f6. But he goes knight e4. Ah, he's taking with the knight. Check. King takes f6 even. Rook at 6. The king is being pushed down. Would it get checkmated in any way? Rook e6. Gukesh trying his best to hustle Fabi here. Knight c5. Is there anything? Rook c6 played. And now, if you go rook, if you move the rook, maybe rook takes knight. So he goes a4. And now rook takes b3, attacking here. Rook f2, threatening mate, and the rook is hanging. Gukesh resigns and Fabi wins this game. What an incredible battle that was right from the opening. I think so much for all of us to learn from that opening play of Fabiano Caruana. And he was so well prepared. Gukesh, on the other hand, well, he tried his best. But once he didn't know that opening, he was almost positionally busted. And the players are looking at the games of other players. That's the setup with a big stage and those huge screens. It was an absolute joy to play in Warsaw at the Super Rapid and Blitz 2026.